You've probably seen the headlines. Billionaire humiliates waitress in Chinese. Her response left everyone speechless. Rich man mocks server. You won't believe what happened next. They're everywhere. Millions of views. People sharing, liking, feeling that rush of satisfaction when the underdog wins. But here's what those clickbait stories never tell you. They never tell you about the knot in your stomach when you're walking to work the next day. They never tell you about crying in your car before your shift because you need this job, and needing it means swallowing things that would choke most people. They never tell you the real story. So let me tell you one. Not the sanitized, Hollywood version where everything wraps up perfectly. Not the revenge fantasy where the hero destroys the villain and everyone applauds. This is what actually happens when you're just trying to keep your dignity in a world that constantly tries to take it. My name is Maya Chen. I'm 28. For 3 years, I waited tables at an upscale restaurant in Seattle while saving for nursing school. And this is what really happened the night a billionaire tried to humiliate me in Chinese. But first, you need to understand what it's like to be invisible. Every morning before my shift, I stood in the employee bathroom at the Meridian and looked at myself in the mirror. I'd fix my hair, check my makeup, straighten my uniform. And then I'd say one thing out loud, even though I felt ridiculous doing it. You are not less than anyone walking through that door. I had to. Because when you spend 8 hours being treated like a vending machine that occasionally malfunctions, when people snap their fingers at you or talk through you like furniture, you start to believe maybe you really are less than. The restaurant industry doesn't just exhaust your body. It erodes something deeper. You're not allowed bad days. Your grandmother could die that morning, but you still smile and ask if anyone saved room for dessert. You have a migraine splitting your skull, but you're still cheerful, attentive, grateful. And the invisibility. God, the invisibility. People have entire conversations about intimate details of their lives as if you're not standing right there. They complain about you to your manager while you're within earshot, calling you, the server, or, that girl, instead of using your name, even though you introduced yourself 3 times. You become furniture with a pulse. So every morning, I'd remind myself I was real. That I mattered. That this job was temporary, just the bridge to the life I actually wanted. Then I'd smile and do it all over again. That Tuesday started like any other. The Meridian was the kind of place where people with expense accounts impress clients. White tablecloths. Soft lighting. Quiet conversations about quarterly earnings. I'd been there 3 years. I was good at my job. I remembered regulars' names, their anniversaries, their dietary restrictions. I made people feel seen, even though most of them never saw me. The evening had a nice rhythm. Regulars who requested me. A birthday celebration where I orchestrated the staff singing. A nervous first date couple I gave extra time between courses. And then he walked in. 50-something. Expensive suit. Watch worth more than my car. That particular confidence that comes from never looking at price tags. Already loud on his phone. Already taking up more space than necessary. My manager seated him in my section. I knew within 30 seconds what kind of night this would be. The way he looked through me when I introduced myself. Talking to his companion while I explained specials, like I was background noise. Dismissive hand wave when I asked about drinks. But I'd had worse. This was just another Tuesday. Smile. Be gracious. Fix problems. Be invisible except when needed. It started small. This water's too cold. I brought room temperature water. Now it's too warm. Fresh glass. This bread isn't warm. And I asked for olive oil, not butter. I hadn't written down olive oil, but I brought it anyway. No. Not that olive oil. The other one. Each complaint delivered louder. His companion looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Nearby tables started noticing. I felt their eyes, pity, secondhand embarrassment. But I kept composure. You smile. Apologize even when it's not your fault. Make the customer feel heard. Fix it. Move on. Survive. He was building momentum, performing for his companion. Showing how he handled incompetence. Each complaint made him feel more in control. When I brought their entrees, he didn't even look before speaking. This isn't what I ordered. It was. I'd repeated it back twice. Confirmed with the kitchen. The ticket was in my apron. I'm so sorry, sir. What can I get you instead? He glanced at his companion. His voice got loud enough for the whole section. I don't want, instead. I want competence. Is that too much to ask? Do you people not understand basic instructions? My face got hot. My hands shook, but I kept them clasped so he wouldn't see. I wanted to scream that yes, I understood perfectly, that I had a degree, spoke 3 languages, was saving for nursing school, was a whole person with dreams beyond bringing him his overpriced steak. But I smiled. Apologized. Offered something else. Then he turned to his companion and said, in Mandarin, loud enough for half the room. These servers are all the same. No brain, just smiles. He laughed. His companion looked away. The man was pleased with himself, making a joke the help wouldn't understand, demonstrating his worldliness, his superiority. I stood 3 feet away, understanding every word. My parents immigrated from Taiwan when I was 4. Mandarin was my first language. I grew up translating at doctor's appointments, parent-teacher conferences, the DMV. Learning early what it meant to bridge worlds while being invisible. The irony wasn't lost on me. My parents raised me to be respectful, work hard, never make trouble. They sacrificed everything so I could have opportunities they never had. And here I was, decades later, mocked in their language by a man who thought he was too sophisticated to be understood. Our section got very quiet. Tables around us had heard. Some looked horrified. Most looked away. I said. Calm. Clear. Just loud enough. I understand every word you're saying. His face went from pale to red. But here's where the real story begins. I didn't deliver a devastating comeback. Didn't humiliate him. Didn't call the manager or throw water in his face or any clickbait fantasy move. I did something harder. I felt the anger, hot and sharp. The humiliation. 3 years of moments like this crystallized into one. The temptation to finally unleash everything I'd been holding back. Then I chose who I'd be. I'm going to step away for a moment. When I come back, we can start over, or I can have another server take your table. Either way is fine. But I need you to know that I'm a person. And I'd appreciate being treated like one. I didn't wait for response. I walked through the dining room, past the kitchen, to the employee break room. Locked the door. Leaned against the sink. And cried. Not pretty single tears. The ugly kind where your body shakes and you can't catch your breath and you cover your mouth so no one hears. I cried for myself. For the version of me that had to smile through being called brainless. For all the times I'd swallowed my dignity to keep a job. For my parents who worked so hard to give me better, only to watch me serve people who looked down on us. For every server, retail worker, anyone who's been made to feel less than human. 60 seconds. Then I stopped. Washed my face. Reapplied makeup. Straightened my uniform. You are not less than anyone. I needed to hear it. Believe it. My manager Tom waited near the kitchen. Good guy. Former server. Actually cared. Maya. Table 17 asked for you specifically. You okay to go back? I nodded, though I wasn't sure. But I couldn't let Tom handle it. Couldn't let that man think he'd broken me. When I approached, his companion was gone. Just him, sitting alone. Smaller somehow. Older. Performance over. Theater empty. He left. Business emergency, he said. But we both know that's not true. I waited. Sometimes the most powerful thing is silence. I'm sorry. That was inexcusable. I was showing off, and I forgot you were a real person. He struggled with something. My daughter's about your age. If someone spoke to her the way I just spoke to you, I'd want to punch them. And here I am, being that person to someone else's daughter. I could have said, it's okay. Made it easy. Smoothed it over. But I was tired of making people comfortable while drowning inside. It's not okay. But I appreciate you saying that. We sat with that. Can I ask you something? How do you do this? Day after day. Instead of the polite answer, I told him the truth. Most days I remind myself it's not about me. That when people are cruel, it's because something in their life is broken. But some days, I go home and cry. Wonder if I'm crazy for thinking I deserve better. Want to quit and never deal with another human again. I paused, then decided, what the hell? If we're being honest, let's be honest. But I remember why I'm doing this. I'm saving for nursing school. I want to care for people who are sick and scared. Be the person who sees them when they feel invisible. So I come back the next day. And the day after. Because every shift where I keep my dignity, where I don't let someone else's bad day make me smaller, that's me winning. Long silence. That's remarkable. I don't know if I could do that. You've never had to. That's the difference. He pulled out his wallet, placed $500 bills on the table. For nursing school. I looked at the money. 2 weeks of groceries. A textbook. A small dent in the wall of debt. But I didn't reach for it. I can't accept that. Why not? Because then this becomes a transaction. You apologize, throw money at it, feel better, and nothing changes. You go back to not seeing people like me. I go back to being invisible. The world keeps spinning the same way. He looked genuinely surprised. Then what do you want? I thought about it. Really thought. I want you to remember this feeling. This discomfort. Next time you're anywhere someone's serving you, I want you to see them. Really see them. Learn their name. Say thank you and mean it. Tip well. And if you see someone else treating service workers badly, say something. I looked him in the eye. That's worth more than $500. He left a generous tip, 40%. Life went on. No applause. No viral video. No fairy tale ending. But something changed. 3 weeks later, I heard someone at a nearby booth being rude to Miguel, one of our busboys. Snapping fingers. Calling him, boy. Treating him like he was stupid because his English wasn't perfect. A voice across the room spoke up. Hey. That's not okay. Apologize to him. Richard. He'd become a regular. And I'd watched him learn staff names, ask about their lives, tip generously. Now he was calling out bad behavior. Not aggressively. Just firmly. The customer mumbled an apology. Miguel nodded, uncomfortable but grateful. Richard caught my eye across the restaurant. I gave a small nod. He nodded back. Not a perfect transformation. He still had bad days. Still forgot sometimes. But he was trying. 6 months later, I had enough saved for nursing school. My last shift was a Saturday. The staff threw me a small party. Everyone signed a card. Tom gave me a recommendation letter. It was sweet, genuine, mattered more than any viral moment. Richard came in early. Handed me an envelope. Don't open it until you're home. Inside was a check for $5,000 and a handwritten note. Maya, my daughter just started her first retail job. I told her about you. About dignity and what it means to serve with grace. She says you're her hero, even though she's never met you. I've started a scholarship fund for service workers pursuing healthcare. You're the first recipient. Thank you for teaching me it's never too late to see clearly. You're going to be an extraordinary nurse. With gratitude, Richard. I cried reading that. Not because of the money, though it helped. But because someone heard me. Really heard me. And chose to change. I'm in my second year of nursing school now. Part-time at a hospital doing patient intake. The skills I learned waiting tables make me good at this, reading people, staying calm under pressure, maintaining dignity when someone's yelling because they're scared and I'm the only person in front of them. The difference? Now people respect it. Call it professionalism, bedside manner, emotional intelligence. But it's the same skill millions of service workers use every day. We've always been professionals. Society just didn't want to admit it because then they'd have to pay us like professionals. Treat us like professionals. The viral videos you see, the perfect comebacks, customers getting destroyed. Those are fantasies. What we wish we could do. Reality is most of us can't afford to be heroes. We need the job. The tips. To pay rent, buy groceries, save for futures we're working toward. So we find quieter ways to fight. Remember our worth when the world forgets. Support each other. Survive. And sometimes, we change one person's mind. Plant one seed. Create one ripple. Maybe those ripples become waves. A veteran server named Patricia worked at the Meridian for 30 years. After a brutal shift, I asked how she kept going. How she maintained dignity year after year in a job that constantly tried to strip it away. She looked at me with kind, tired eyes. Baby, dignity isn't something someone gives you. It's something you carry. Every time you choose to keep carrying it, even when someone's trying to take it, you win. You remind yourself and the world that you matter. That you're not just here to serve, you're here to live. To dream. To become whoever you're meant to be. This job is just the bridge. Don't let anyone convince you it's the destination. I'm crossing that bridge now. Becoming the nurse I always wanted to be. But I'll never forget where I came from. Never stop fighting for the millions still on that bridge, carrying their dignity, one shift at a time. So here's what I'm asking you. Not to be a hero. Not to go viral. Not to change the world overnight. Just to make a choice. Then another. Then another, every day. Next time you're at a restaurant, look at your server. Make eye contact. Learn their name. Use it. Say thank you and mean it. Recognize they're not background in your life, they're the protagonist of their own. They have dreams, struggles, people who love them, a whole life beyond your food. That's the baseline. Just see people. If you witness someone treating a service worker badly, say something. Even, hey, that's not okay, changes the dynamic. Workers often can't defend themselves without risking their jobs. But you can. Your advocacy costs almost nothing and means everything. Support businesses that treat workers well. Leave reviews mentioning staff by name. Tip generously, 20% minimum, more if possible. If you can afford to eat out, you can afford to tip properly. Vote for politicians who support livable wages, sick leave, healthcare access, the right to unionize. Donate to worker advocacy organizations. Show up when labor issues are discussed. Individual kindness is beautiful. But we need structural change. A world where people don't rely on strangers' kindness to survive. Where dignity isn't luxury. Where work is respected regardless of what that work is. This isn't about guilt. If you've been that customer, been short with a server, been too lost in your problems to see the person helping you, that doesn't make you bad. We're all human. We all fail. This is about what you do next. Tomorrow. The day after. The day after that. Here's what you can do right now. Text someone you know in service work. Tell them you appreciate them. Their work matters. Next time you eat out, tip 25 to 30% if you can. It might mean someone makes rent. Affords medication. Has one less sleepless night staring at bills. Commit. If you see someone mistreating a service worker this week, you'll say something. Research which local businesses treat workers well. Shift your spending there. Your wallet is a vote. Share this story. Not to go viral, but to open eyes. Start conversations. Remind people that workers they interact with daily are human beings with dignity. Make these changes permanent. Not just today while you're inspired. Not just this week while it's fresh. Make them habits. The way you move through the world. Individual acts are nice. Patterns create change. 1,000 people doing this consistently. 10,000. 1,000,000. That's a movement. That's how the world changes. The Mayas of the world are still out there. Still working. Fighting. Choosing dignity over despair every day. They need you to choose too. See them. Speak up. Change the system that makes their struggle necessary. The next move is yours. Make it count.